Professor Biswal, and really, as a student, if I was sitting across there, I would have taken the last line which he said, that if you hit an idea, please come to him. I know very few institutions are open, and it could be a very raw idea, as I keep saying. It can be chiseled, it can be worked on, it can be improved upon, even if it's a very raw idea which you have. Thank you, Professor Biswal. Now I call upon Professor V.K. Malhotra. He's a professor of economics and is presently Member Secretary, Indian Council of Social Science Research. He has written a number of papers in reputed national and international journals in the area of his interest, and he has to his credit a book titled Economics of Education, which is prescribed in many universities. He's on the board of Indian Council of World Affairs, visitor nominee of the court of Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi, and he's also a member of board of many renowned social science research institutes of country, and is also part of the executive of many international research bodies and associations. Thank you for sparing Sunday morning with us. Over to you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ravinder. It's a pleasure to be here in this gathering, which has design innovators and which has people like Nandan Kumar, Ms. Kanta Singh, Suchi Parekh, Law, and their students, in fact, because I'm told most of them constitute the student category. I didn't know what to and where from to start, in fact, and since a tone has already been set by Professor Biswal, that we must definitely be thinking of the one. And secondly, right since beginning, at ICSS I have been arguing for interdisciplinarity, multidisciplinarity, and transdisciplinarity. In the sense, I have always felt, and in my first interview given to Hindu also, this story came out, in fact, in which I did say, and I informed, it is the society that decided for itself that what level of science and technology should be achieved. But in this race, what has happened is that science and technology, they have taken a lead, and society definitely feels to be far behind. And there is not a difference of 1 or 2 or 5 years. There appears to be a difference of several years. And when I say so, I definitely look at science and technology, which have a very high degree of mobility across the world and between the nations also. But when we talk of the society, there seems to be hardly any degree of mobility between the societies. That being a major concern. And I've always argued for it, that unless science and technology, they do have at their all relevant platforms, the social thinkers and the philosophers in social sciences, they perhaps cannot ever align the advancements in science and technology with the advancements in society. And that is why there is a persisting gap between the two. That being one point of major concern, it's good to notice that UK-India Education and Research Initiative here is doing a lot of work in this direction. Let me make it plain here itself that we do have a very good experience of collaborative, interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary researches, and it's almost a reality well accepted by all and also by researchers in the world that the researches and the advancements that include or that have component of multidisciplinarity or interdisciplinarity and have collaborative works within their realm, they definitely reach great heights in terms of their real achievements when they are translated to or for their doings to the society, in fact. I do not know what has transpired here in terms of understanding about innovation and entrepreneurship. As a student of economics, I'm just reminded of Schumpeter, right, who talked of innovation, in fact, in the beginning, and he was arguing that innovation is a spontaneous and discontinuous change in channels of production, and which disturb the existing equilibrium forever. And he was talking of product, process, market, new sources of supply, and new organizations in the industry to be the part of that change, in fact, which meant innovation. We all understand, I think, since we have already done one deep course, and most of you, the good part is that constituted learners. Many of us, when we give up learning, in fact, there's hardly anything that we afford to absorb. We all understand that in all innovations, entrepreneurship, which so far meant doing something, a change, or going about the change for profit creation, because innovation, in a technical sense, always meant that you create your own market. You create the market for something new, and that market ever meant generation of more profit and acquiring the position of a monopolist in a society. But it's good that before innovation and before enterprise, there is a prefixing of the word called social. That is to say that all innovations, and I believe that because in economics also I understand that there is a short-term and long-term analysis of the things that take place or that are yet to take place, in fact. We all understand that innovation, which begins from idea, and Professor Biswal was talking about idea itself. And when I say idea, idea does mean exchange of ideas as well. And there is a change or shift in roles and relationships at various levels. The good part, which is being understood under the very realm of innovations and enterprise, is that there is increased focus and emphasis on public and private sector organizations relationship. I think, and my own understanding is that in the world also, we do notice that joint stock companies are a creation of some kind of delegation, or some kind of decentralization. While talking of it, I was definitely tempted to talk about an article published in several research journals, and which talks about how decentralized transactions can solve social ills. And the example, because you as learners will understand through examples more than we talk of the theoretical part of it. Coffee shops have proved to be a very good example of such social innovations. I do not know how many of you understand index values, in fact, and index generations as well. But we were sitting somewhere, and somebody did say that when we construct indexes, then what is, if we have to develop a common index for the world in terms of prices, in fact, that how should we be then comparing the prices in the different economies of the world? The very lively answer that came was that we can refer to McDonald's, burger, or pizza as an index value for looking at the price values across the world, in fact. And that's an acceptable argument also, in the sense, because you go anywhere in the world and you see McDonald's present. And it has become, again, one part of such kind of social innovations and enterprise that we have. In this context, I would definitely like to make a mention about startup initiatives in India. And when I say startup initiatives, because the whole concept of enterprise, not only in India, is undergoing tremendous amount of change, but it is also undergoing tremendous amount of changes across the world. In the sense, when you look at the kind of admission processes, the kind of selection processes in management colleges these days, I'm talking about the top management schools in India and also in the world. And Binder was making a reference to diversity. Of course, the kind of diversity that they are preferring to have in these institutes is definitely a big change in itself, and definitely it is going to be a big game changer in days to come. Even I'm very sure in days to come, the selection process of IITs and even medical examination, or for law it has already changed, but even for such examination there will be a lot many changes. Apart from sheer subject-specific understanding, there will be a little more understanding and out-of-box thinking, which would definitely be constituting a good part of the entire selection process, in fact. So, what effort we are trying to do is that there is an increased focus on two things. One is that we should be looking at the things completely from the perspective of being out of box. That's one thing. And when I talk of novelty or newness or creativeness or creativity or innovativeness, definitely we have to be in a frame of mind which is free from a single disciplinarity kind of way to think about things. Unless the thinking becomes holistic in its own way, reaching the solutions or approaching the solutions really becomes a big problem. I'm sorry to say that there is a use of a word, complex solutions in your writing.
Complex problems.
Complex problems or solutions. But I always look at it in a way that word is complex till the time we don't understand it. Even the most complex problems in the world have found very simple solutions already. So difference between complexity and simplicity is our own understanding and thinking around the solution. So to young learners, I would just say that don't ever be problem-oriented, be always solution-oriented. And this is why I used to think, because you are going to take many competitive examinations in days to come, I used to think that why everywhere in good level examinations, the whole objective test format is around problem solving. The answer is very clear, because they want you to be problem solvers rather than the people who would always be entangled with the problems. That being the most important thing, in fact. And I was making a reference to the startup initiative in India. The whole platform, the whole thinking, and look at the things is going to change in the sense. I see that, and you look at who are the financiers of the startup organizations in the country now. You would notice that those who have earned them, those who have very large size capitals with them, they are acting as business angels. They are funding the startup in many possible ways. And I go back to Schumpeter, where I was attempting to start with. In fact, he was talking of innovation and risk at the same time. So there is no innovation in the world which is risk-free. And when you talk of taking risk, then of course, in a business sense, we would always say that risks have to be calculated. You must be appreciating this view that, of course, when business angels or investors or innovators or let's say startup entrepreneurs, they go into the field, they go with a mind. I was looking at the success rate in the United States also. The success rate of a startup organization in the US is 1:27, in fact. So it gives you, and still, there is no dearth of fresh starts coming up. And this is how, and I'm very sure you go to the IIT campuses now, you go to IIM campuses now, and one thing which is very great and happening and worth noticing is that the students, they are not in a typical mood of taking jobs post-completion of degrees. There are many who have taken several other works after completion of very important degrees like BTech or being an IIM graduate or something like that. So this is how new things are happening and people are thinking altogether differently than they ever used to think. I'm very, very sure that there are few examples with me. In fact, I have noted that I should be sharing, but I don't have that much time. Just to invite your attention towards these examples. Plume Lab, Fairphone, Open Knowledge International, Airbnb, Building Bikes, and if we talk of India's case, Mitti Pool Refrigerators, and Dona and Bowls, and I would have definitely make a mention about Uber and Ola also, and Richard Power. They have proved to be big successes in this context. I think as young learners or as young innovators and entrepreneurs of the future, you must definitely, whenever you approach for your own games or your own purpose and learning, think of it that how I can align it with the issues in society and the issues of environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Malhotra. And I welcome your suggestion, the complex problem solving, which I know that, and thank you for correcting me, usually solution providers. I now call upon Ms. Suruchi Parekh. She's a senior project manager of UK India Education and Research Initiative, UKIERI, popularly known as the British Council Division, who, despite her very, very busy schedule on a Sunday afternoon, has agreed to come to and share her views and ideas with us. Thank you, Suruchi.
So the dice and all of you. You have to bear with my bad throat, but I'll manage to be as clear as possible. I didn't take long to tell about what UKIERI is because it won't make any difference to what you have been doing. I just want two volunteers. I have two questions and I want two volunteers to answer those questions. After doing this 7 days training, has it impacted your career choice from taking up a regular job versus becoming an entrepreneur? First question. And my second question is, what is one social problem that you have thought of that you will bring a solution to? Very quickly, two volunteers, no exam. We just want to make it very interactive. Go on. Yeah.
So absolutely, I always had it. I'm actually already working right now. I did my master's, I completed my master's last year, and it was after I planned to continue with my research and all, but it was after I took up a clinical man's course that I realized that I really want to experience the practical world, and I joined a social enterprise. And then after this course, I realized that working with a social enterprise is one thing, and having an idea of my own and working on that is another thing, and that is something that I look forward to. And maybe in a year or two, I will have an idea that I already have some idea, but maybe I'll have a solution to the problem that.
Can you share that idea with us?
So basically, the social problem that I did a research paper on that is basically the lack of safety in public places, and that is not just for women. Not concentrating just on women, but all kinds of marginalized communities, be it the LGBT community or be it even men at a lot of points. So that is one thing that has been bugging me for a long time. That is something that I really wish to address, but still struggling with how to go about it. So that is something that I like.
So, anyone else would like to share? Yeah, please. Quickly. Yeah, go on.
So, I've already been admired by the entrepreneurs, and I've already worked with some, and I've been one of the startup people. But always I've experienced that I've been lacking in some points. It's like there's an initiating point, there's an end point. So there was a gap between which maybe this course has fulfilled and given me some points on which I can work, and it has bridged the gap. And I've I'm from Himachal Pradesh, and we cannot industrialize that state because it's an eco state and it's a green state. So we cannot call companies and set up industries as much as the other states. So we have more than 47% of unemployed people in our state. So that is a big issue, and more than 11% people are uneducated. So how to cure that? And I've got ideas, I've got links to the organizations, I've got to know what people think about these people and what the companies are doing, how entrepreneurship can help, how social entrepreneurship can help to these people. So I've come up with 2-3 ideas. I'm thinking on that. I'm working with people, and I've got into contact with 2-3 people and I've discussed with them. So maybe this could bring a change in the Himachal state for me or for the people as well. So this has contributed a lot.
Thank you. Realize how are these certificate courses impacting you truly? Sitting 7 days, spending 5 hours, writing notes in English, making big reports, and using big terms doesn't matter. Unless you have imbibed that learning and you have an action plan to go back and use your learning. So one take that I'm going to take from Rupinder is that I understand these are like bright 40 people who have volunteered to take up this course and compromised on their midterm break, on their weekends and everything. So you must have that zeal or something in the back of your mind where that's why you are sitting here. So as an individual, as an organization who is funding this course, I would, and leave aside the organization, as an individual, I understand that unless you share that action plan with all of us, unless you have that clear action plan, it's not going to take you anywhere. So I'm going to take this liberty of telling Rupinder to kind of contact each of you, not adding on to your work, just simply I sent 3-4 questions and I want all of you to respond to those questions, because I'm going to take that document back to my stakeholders and saying that, look, from UKIERI funds, we are addressing such issues and we are targeting these young minds who will be the change makers, not immediately 4 years, 5 years down the line. So that is something which I'm going to take forward, definitely. About the program, it's a program, UKIERI Education Research and Initiative. It is a bilateral program funded by both the organizations, and there are 100 plus research partnerships, multidisciplinary partnerships on science and other aspects on which Indian and UK institutions are working together. There are certain unique partnerships like one of these which are kind of going way beyond, apart from just doing the core research work, I mean disseminating and taking the work to next level. So it's good to see all of you here, and my only point was that I would definitely like to know from each one of you what these 4 questions. I know each one of you will get busy when your session starts. Rupinder will also get busy, so I won't ask those big reports, just 4 questions and your response to that. I'll take your contact details, your consent to be contacted, and I will request each one of you to respond. Because when you respond and then you write, you will yourself realize that you also have clarity as to what you want to do. Right? Thank you so much.
You've given a wonderful idea. As a course convener, and also, how do we do better than what we have done? And what has been the real outcome of this learning experience for 1 week? Unless and until we can translate some of these ideas to the ground reality. And thank you, Suruchi, for putting in this idea. I didn't think about it that way. So 4 important questions coming to us. I'll connect you to all my students who have been attending these classes. And I encourage all of you to respond with clarity and also sincerity about how and what you think was important and how you can go about changing or certain ideas which you have, how do you drill it down and filter it and make it into a practical concept. Thank you, Suruchi. We'll work on that despite our very busy schedule.
I would make it much do.
It's not much. It's perfectly within inbuilt of the idea of what should course lead to. Now I call upon Shri Nandan Kumar, who is the Director of Economics Competition Commission of India, who again, on a Sunday afternoon, being with us. I'm not pretending because of the Sunday. Amit also, he's come all the way from.
Dear panelists, Professor Obrai and students, I'm really thankful for being invited here in this closing ceremony of UKIERI Educational and Research Initiative. Though ma'am is not there, I still thank principal of the college. I actually belong to competition field. I'm working with the Competition Commission of India, so I will certainly be talking about something about competition. And competition for you guys who want to be entrepreneur is important. Is important also because you could be victim of the anti-competitive practices those big companies may be resorting to, which you may not be even aware of. So certainly I will start with a small joke which I heard some time back in a seminar in the Law Institute, Indian Law Institute, ILI, some time back, and one Supreme Court judge, he said one-liner joke, and that is, all of us like to be the only son-in-law or only daughter-in-law. That means we do not like competition. We like competition for others, but for ourselves we do not like competition. But in a market economy, competition is the sole thing. I mean, it is the heart and soul of the market economy, and the greatness of market lies in the effective competition in market. Without effective competition in market economy will become private property of few rich people dominated by their big enterprises. In a market economy, government intervention is required because of the market failures. And normally, when we talk about the market failure, there could be four kinds of market failure. One is information asymmetry, means we do not know if we are going to the cinema hall, we do not know whether fire system are in place, that only the government has to do this activity. Then the negative externalities, where you pollute, I get a cancer. So the market functioning will not provide an immediate solution for these kind of negative externalities. So there has to be role of government. Then in case of public goods, of course, government intervention is required. And the last one is market power. And this market power is related to competition. And in order to address the issue of market failure emanating from the market power, we have competition law which prohibits anti-competitive practices, behavior like cartels, abuse of dominance, and also regulates merger and acquisition in the economy. Certainly, competition and innovation are interrelated. In the Global Competitiveness Index report that was released by the World Economic Forum, India's position is at 58. And the top 4 countries are US, Singapore, Germany, and Switzerland. These top 4 countries in the Global Competitiveness Index report, as the report suggests, that these countries are driven by the innovative system. There is a lot of innovation taking place in those countries, and that is the reason they are more competitive, as the report suggests. And in all these countries, the per capita income is much higher than the countries like India, which are mainly driven by the factory-driven things like infrastructure and those kind of things. So in the US, the per capita income in PPP terms as of now probably it's around 6,000, and in Singapore it's 90,000, Germany 51,000, but in India it is only 7,060 in purchasing power terms. In real term, probably this difference will be even much more. So therefore, if India has to increase the per capita income, the economy must be innovation driven. The report also provides the factors which determines innovation capability in any country. And they are, as has been mentioned here also, diversity of workforce. This is one of the prime factors. And the other factor included are state of cluster development, means how many cluster innovation center you have in a country. Scientific publication, patent and trademark applications, R&D expenditure, and buyer sophistication, means whether the buyer in a particular country are buying only based on price or they are also looking for something else when they go for shopping. So this buyer sophistication is also one of the factors that determines the innovation capability in any country. And therefore, in order to increase innovation, we have to be mindful of enhancing these factors in our decision making. One of the panelists talked about this repeater and the destruction. Certainly nowadays, most of the innovations are taking place in they are belonging to the new economy. They are technology based, having the network effect, and they have a disruptive notion in their innovation. Like most of the innovation are taking place in such a way that they are disrupting the current companies, and they are eliminating the current companies at all from the market. And there is syndrome that that is winner takes all. So one who is winner, it takes the entire market. And this is creating some kind of economic concentration also in the society, and therefore the role of competition law will certainly be going to be a very difficult. Even now it is difficult because these new economies and the problem they are setting in the economy are difficult even for the anti-competition agencies to analyze these things, and therefore we have to be watchful of these things. But at the same time, we across the globe, the anti-trust regulators, they do not intervene much in these markets, because once you intervene in these markets, there could be error of judgment from the regulatory side as well. You could reach to a false positive conclusion where you can penalize one company, but their behavior may not be anti-competitive. So therefore, normally across the globe, the antitrust regulator in the new economy restrict themselves so that innovation can take place and the market settle down on its own. So this is my thought on the last day with you. With these words, I thank you, all of you, and wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Kumar, because competition policy and competition commission plays a very important role in the market. I know call upon Ms. Kanta Singh, State Project Head at UNDP, development professional with about 20 years of multicultural experience in management and poor women development programs, organizations. She's also worked, besides working with UNDP with Disha project, she's also worked with Women Power Connect, International Foundation of Electoral System, Women in Sustainable Enterprise, and Center of Social Research. Thank you.
Thank you. And blame me for what Bindal has been saying Sunday afternoon. And I'm not going to tell the whole story. Yeah, so please don't. So, thank you for allowing me to speak to you. When I was young, I knew very clearly that I don't want to be a teacher. Right? I didn't know why I didn't want to be a teacher. Probably I didn't idolize my teachers, or I didn't know they could motivate me. But today I think you people are sitting in a different place. You have a teacher like Vinda, who inspires me actually. I don't know how many of you are inspired by her, but I'm really inspired by what she's doing. And thank you for allowing me to see how you work with young people. But when I grew up, I started, and when I started working actually, I started working with a lot of young people. They were interns, they were volunteers, they people who came as young staff members. And then I knew why I didn't want to be a teacher. Because you people challenge us. I'm scared of you. Seriously, my team is full of young people now. And I'm selfish by being age biased when I hire my team. They're all young people because I don't have any of what you people have. And please pardon me because I'm not going to speak about academic things, but I don't know any of that. Because I also didn't remember the quotes any time in my life. And the first time I heard the word enterprising was when I used to interpret those things. Mahatma Gandhi said this, and I would interpret it in my own words and rewrite it in exam. And the teacher would ask me, why do you write like this? Don't you remember any? And I have a problem, I don't remember the quotes. And I'd say, मुझे याद नहीं रहता बिल्कुल भी. I said, but सबको याद रहता तुम होशियार हो. I should be a good student. And उनका मुझे याद नहीं रहता. Then one day she said, you're very enterprising because not that you don't remember the context or don't remember the gist of what this quotation was, but you just don't remember the words. So you're very enterprising. I didn't know what enterprising means that time. So anyways, I was talking about young people. And so young people bring on table what people like some of us don't get. I don't have the skill set. I don't have what it takes to be the entrepreneur that we're talking about. And when I'm talking about entrepreneurship, this is not the real sense of the idea, then you start working on it, profitability, marketing. I'm not talking about that idea. And it's a mindset. I really think it's a mindset. And all of you have that opportunity today. While I'm saying it, I'm fully responsible that I don't say that everybody in this classroom is saying. That all of you have the same opportunity. All of you have the same background. All of you have the same kind of support that is required to be an entrepreneur. But again, going back to the mindset, it is how you deal with a problem. Professor Malhotra was talking about design thinking, and Professor Biswal also spoke about design thinking. And we were going through a class, and in fact we had a full workshop on design thinking. At the end of it, because I don't remember the academic things, to my mind what I understood was that design thinking is nothing but keeping empathy at the center of it, right? And I experienced it firsthand because we gave a project to IIT Delhi. 75 students of IIT Delhi were involved in the project, and we wanted them to look at or design some products which could reduce women's drudgery in a rural setting. The project ran for a year and a half. We couldn't find a single product that they could, and mechanical engineers, civil engineers, we took a cross-section of students. They couldn't come out with a single thing which could reduce a woman's drudgery. जैसे हरियाणा के गांव में गोबर से साथ रोजाना एक औरत को डील करना पड़ता है, वो उस गोबर को छुए बिना किस तरह से उसका इस्तेमाल कर सकती है, कुछ ऐसी चीज़ बनाइए जो सर पे मटके लेके आना है, उसका साथ क्या किया जा सकता है। औरत को अगर कपड़े धोने हैं, वॉशिंग मशीन अगर नहीं है, उसके गांव में बिजली की वजह से नहीं है, वो क्या कर सकते हैं। बहुत ही छोटे लेवल के आई वुड से IIT स्टूडेंट से हमारी उम्मीद शायद ज़्यादा थी, और मुझे लगा कि उसके पीछे एक ही वजह थी कि उन लोगों के बच्चों ने वो सोल्यूशन नहीं निकाल पाए, कि उन्होंने अपने आप को उस सिचुएशन में देखा ही नहीं. So the part empathy was missing completely from the whole scene. So unless you experience the pain, the burden, and also the pressure of a rural woman who is doing all this work year after year, day after day, and day in and day out. So one has to feel that pain. And वही empathy है कि आप अपने आप को उसके चीज़ पे कैसे डाल सकते हैं. And this is exactly what I want people to think about when you are thinking of entrepreneurship. There are many people in this world who are thinking of big solutions, thinking of nuclear issues, thinking of environmental issues, but it starts very small. and you people are at a perfect place. Because when we were growing up, we didn't have the information. We didn't have the choices, because at least when I grew up, I was told that making money is not the end of everything. तो गांधी की फिलॉसफी अभी चली रही थी उन दिनों कि पैसा कमाना कोई बहुत अच्छी बात नहीं है। पैसा एक कैटेगरी के लोग कमाते हैं, वो सामान बेचते हैं, वो पैसा कमाते हैं, वो शोषण करते हैं लोगों का, क्योंकि थोड़े चीज़ का ज़्यादा पैसा लेते हैं। तो पैसा कमाना उस वक्त इतनी बड़ी बात नहीं माना जाता। आज के दिन अच्छी बात ये है कि आप लोग सब फ्री हैं उस बर्डन से, जिस पे हम लोगों ने आधी जिंदगी तो ये समझने में गुजार दी कि पैसा कितना जरूरी है। आपके सामने ये रास्ते हैं कि पैसा कमाना बुरा नहीं है, so long as you are doing it in public good, you are also using the benefits and sharing those benefits with people. What Narayan Murthy did and what Adi French is doing every day. So you have all kinds of examples. And we also feel that unless you earn money, you will not be able to do social good, right? Because आप अपने पेट भरेंगे कि और को नहीं लगाएंगे। अच्छी बात एक और भी है कि सारी की सारी गवर्नमेंट्स ने ये बात समझ ली है कि बिना एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप के अगर एक आप में से काम नहीं करेगा तो 10 जॉब्स और क्रिएट नहीं होंगी, क्योंकि जो सरकारी नौकरियां हैं वो उससे काम चलने वाला नहीं। आउट ऑफ द 10 जॉब्स 9 आर फ्रॉम द प्राइवेट सेक्टर। एंड प्राइवेट सेक्टर की एक लिमिट है। जो बड़ी कंपनियां हैं वो ऑटोमेशन हो रही है, उनकी जॉब्स कम होती जा रही हैं। ओनली थिंग दैट कैन वर्क नाउ इज दैट ईच वन ऑफ यू स्टार्ट समथिंग and provide jobs to. Even if you are working, I remember I was flying to Norway and one of the Sikh gentlemen was sitting next to me and I was talking to him. I said, where are you going? And he said, I'm going to Oslo. I said, for what? He said, I'm working in the farms there. And I said, but you said you are from Punjab and you have farms. He says, जितना तनख्वाह मुझे यहाँ मिलता है उसमें मैं 10 लोगों को अपने खेतों में काम दे देता हूँ, right? So that is the spirit that you have. Even if you are working in a company, you can still start something of your own where you can employ people. And that is not only the need of the country, but also need of the system, right? And people like us have failed you all, trust me. We have not given you the space to think freely. We still want to keep you thinking in a certain line. कि entrepreneurship होनी तो ऐसे ही होनी है, कोई फॉर्मूला नहीं है, ट्रस्ट में बिल्कुल भी। 2 बातें हैं जो सिर्फ बहुत ही जरूरी है। एक तो ये कि सोशल गुड, वो जरूर आप बिकॉज आप पढ़े लिखे हैं, आप यू आर लिटिल मोर प्रिविलेज्ड देन प्रॉब्ली सम ऑफ अस वर। So social good, keep it at the back of your mind. When I have enough money, I will solve this social problem. Right now, my aim is to make money and be in a position where I can help. Number one. Secondly, use the power of technology to reach that. We didn't have that, right? But दोनों चीजें आपके पास होने के बावजूद भी इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि समस्याएं आपकी कम है। You need lot of training. You need lot of mentorship. You need funding. You need an ecosystem which can support you. And बावजूद उसके भी बहुत लोग आप में से you are not cut out for that. So don't struggle with that. Don't feel bad about it. Even if you've taken the class, it's going to stand you in good stead because it's going to be very useful at some point in time in your life. Maybe today you are not in a position to start, but after 10 years you still have that kida, as they say, and you say, "मैंने सीखा था, I think now I can do it. I'm ready for it now." So don't take the pressure of starting something immediately, right? जब तक घर से लात नहीं पड़ जाती कि चलिए अब निकलिए भाग यहाँ से, कुछ भी करिए मुझे नहीं पता, right? बहुत सारे लोग पहली फंडिंग वही है सबसे बड़ी, तो जब घर वाले कहते हैं जाओ यहाँ से, मुझे नहीं पता क्या करो, right? And many of you boys would face that. Girls का तो अगर नहीं करती है कहते शादी कर दो, right? और उसका रिजल्ट ये होता है कि less and less number of girls start thinking on these lines. In fact, girls could be equally competitive, equally smart. I don't know, at the risk of sounding feminist, I won't say they are more smart, but actually मैं जो पूरा इकोसिस्टम है वो गर्ल्स को नीचे रखता है। आपको क्या करने की जरूरत है, आगे जाके कर लेना, जो तुम्हारे लॉज कहे वो कर लेना, राइट? बट सीरियसली वी डोंट हैव टू थिंक लाइक दिस। हम लोग हरियाणा के कुछ गांव में काम कर रहे थे, कुछ नहीं 7 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में काम करते हैं। We reached out to about 45,000 women, out of which we trained about 10,000, of which 6,000 women have started their small businesses. When I'm saying small, they are nano businesses. जो जिन्होंने बिना किसी कैपिटल के शुरू किया काम, आज के दिन मिनिमम इनकम दे आर अर्निंग इज अबाउट 5,000 रुपीज पर मंथ। बहुत सारे इनमें से 15, 20, 30 हज़ार रुपये कमाते हैं। मुझे ये लगता है कि जब उन औरतों में इतनी हिम्मत जो जिनके हस्बैंड अल्कोहलिक है, जितना पैसा कमाते हैं शाम को थप्पड़ मार के छीन लेते हैं हमसे, किसी के हस्बैंड है ही नहीं, कोई फिजिकली हैंडीकैप्ड है, मोस्ट ऑफ द 80% ऑफ द RSC कैंडिडेट्स। अगर उन लोगों में हिम्मत है तो हमें थोड़ा सा और हिम्मत होनी चाहिए इस बात को करने के लिए। आप यंग हैं, एज इज इन योर फेवर, you have the support of the center here, you have the support of professors like Rupinder, you have the ecosystem around you which may not be as friendly as you want, but if you have it in you, please give it a shot. Secondly, don't ever allow anyone to belittle you on your teams. If you say I want to be my own boss, किसी को हंसने नहीं देना उसमें, because there's a lot of power in dreams. There's a lot of power in the determination that you have. There's a lot of power in people. There's a lot of power in the structures around you. So it is for you to draw that power, right? Particularly the girls who are sitting here, there's nobody who's going to push you to do it. But trust me, this century belongs to you. And sorry, no offense to boys, you have had a long run, right? This century belongs to women. You can't blame anyone after this, that we didn't get fair chance. If you are sitting in this room today, trust me, you have equal opportunity today. Only your social systems are slightly different. Navigate those spaces, you can do it, right? We have to show it how to do it in a more responsible manner, how to keep the design thinking at the center of it, and that's the empathy. You also are in a position to show the way to other people. Thank you all very much. Great that you chose to be here, and thank you, Rupinder, for being such a great role model. Thank you so much.
The things which, and which I was talking to Amit in the morning, was that we actually thought that बहुत लोग हम क्लासरूम में तो पढ़ रहे हैं, theoretical पढ़ रहे हैं, but हम क्या उनका दर्द समझते हैं कि नहीं? When you talked about the women in Haryana, so we can't think of a social solution unless and until we empathize. And I'm grateful to Amit also because he was the one who brought in the idea of design thinking workshop, which was a great success, and all of you enjoyed. It was a 2-hour workshop which Amit facilitated it and gave me an idea about it. So thank you, Amit, again for that, planning that workshop for us. And Kaka, I couldn't have agreed with you more. I believe in women power, women's strength, and US solution providers. And I also feel that we need to, and I must tell this to Shruti too, that what I also think, and which Amit and we discussed again this morning, was that we need to plan beyond the classroom teaching and take them to the villages in and around. Next time when I plan a certificate course or any of these workshops, we need to go at the ground. We need to go and see and feel and empathize and understand the problems. That's when you will come up with a solution. So that kind of walls of urban spaces and rural spaces needs to be broken and dismantled. I now call upon Amit. You know him well because he's more regular than some of the students who came to me, because he sat 3 full days at the initial, right from the inauguration till we had the Glenmark competition and design thinking workshop, and again he came this morning. I think he's the best person to guide us forward and give us suggestions, and we'll be consulting him more often and in trying to understand what we can do. He comes with great experience from industry and academia, global and India too now, I can say that. I mean, they know you well, so I'm avoiding the formal introduction.
For the opportunity and for your generosity and kindness to involve me. I think it is very, very important initiative, Delhi University, and particularly your college, UKIERI College. So I almost feel like an insider of Delhi University, having interacted with you so much and so intensely. Although I come from another university, Jindal Global University, but I feel almost like part of the Delhi University community. And this is great. I'm a great sort of believer in action learning, action research, rolling up your sleeves literally and sort of getting down to work, and which we talked about in my session. So a couple of points come to my mind as we basically come to the conclusion, I think, of this brilliant initiative once again of the Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship Certificate Program. So the basic necessity as to why we need social entrepreneurship. I mean, there is no doubt about the fact that we need entrepreneurship, particularly as more and more societies, or rather most societies, or most nation states in the world are liberal economies. Basically, the market is a fundamental institution for creating needs and also distributing results. We congratulate all of you to actually take your time off and to converge all your disciplinary theories and to basically immerse yourself in an action-oriented framework called social entrepreneurship. And I will share that methodological framework that we developed together in the class, in the session. I'll share with you the methods, the principles, and the processes of innovation and of social entrepreneurship. Thank you very much. Such a pleasure.
I think what you talked about is the artificial barrier between the social and the enterprise needs to be broken too, and the immersion theory, where he referred to, and we didn't have a chance to do that, which is one thing which I really want to take you forward upon. We have come to the closing session of the closing day of this course, which lasted for about a week. And I hope this is not the end of anything, and rather the beginning of new things. So thank you everyone, students, all the people who are here with us today. Each one of us had the chance of hearing great inputs from the Competition Commission to British Council to UNDP, ICCR, and Hokijibu, and Professor Biswal, who is the host for us in a way that this is, we're using his facility, and he's also on the advisory board of this course, and we have few plans which we hope we can deliver in the course of coming few months. Thank you all. We have a photo session now, and then we have lunch.
And Rabinder, I want to publicly acknowledge the fantastic role of enactors of the Nariman College.
Yeah. We have been doing that.
I mean, whose example I actually used in my workshop.
And just to share, in your bags there is a small pamphlet of what Carolina College enactors does, and there are 3 projects which and there was one competition on that. And there's an e-patra, there is an edible utensil which they have created, which is there in your bag. So I encourage you to consume that too.
And there are 2 individuals sitting right at the back of the class. And I think they should rise and you should stand up.
And this is the enactors team of Carolina College. They're the budding entrepreneurs. And I think you must get connected to Professor Biswal, who's doing some great job and can be a facilitator and mentor about some of these great projects we're entering into. Thank you. We have a quick photograph session, and then thank you. Sorry, you know what? It just slipped my mind, right?
Why don't we stand there and wear a picture for the
Thank you. Please, students. Yeah.
But I'm not able to talk. Without yeah.
पूछते हो? क्या है ये?
अरे तवे वाली सब्जी है
और ये क्या है?
ये चिकन है
अरे भाई, तो ये क्या है?
ये मटर नहीं पालक पनीर
कल ही खाया था। क्या है यार? क्या खा रहे हैं आप खाने को?
एक मिनट
Yes.